got no time for stress, I confess. Comes to my city, I'm the playmaker. I'm the playmaker.
Welcome to the first edition of Unconventional Playbook Playmakers edition. We've got a really special guest in the house, Miss Raya Shaw, who will be a senior at Eau Claire Memorial High School, verbally committed to the University of Missouri St. Louis. So I've been waiting for this interview for a long time. Raya, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You know, you and I go back a long way. I've known you and your family for a long time. So today I have to act like I don't know you very well. A lot of these questions that I'm going to hit you with, I kind of know the answers to these things already. But our viewers and people that may be thinking about coming into Playmakers or looking at the Playmaker organization may not know them. So we got to pretend like we don't know each other. Okay. So, you know, these questions are going to be really easy, but it'll give people an insight kind of about your journey and what you're looking to do next. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So tell us, Raya, like when did you first fall in love with basketball and really what made you decide to stick with it?
Um, I definitely fell in love with basketball at a young age. My brother played basketball, and so I was definitely introduced to it when I was really young. Be going to the Y in the morning before school, just putting in the work in early and young, and it's definitely before when I fell in love with it.
Yeah, you're the type of athlete that could, in my opinion, you probably could play any sport and be really good at it, you know, because you're really adaptable and you're super athletic. What made you decide to stick with basketball?
Um, I look up to my brother a lot, so I've always been wanting to do things that he was interested in, kind of had the same interests, but I think just I love playing the game of basketball, and I love the game so much that I just fell in love with it, and it kept making me want to play.
Yeah, obviously Mackay is a really, really good basketball player, plays at Southwest State, Minnesota. Would it be safe to say that he was really inspirational towards you playing the game and sticking with the game?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player. For those of you that don't know Mackay, he played at Eau Claire Memorial, had a stellar career there, and is now playing at Southwest State in Minnesota. So, Rhea, if you had to look back at your career and look at some challenges that you faced earlier in your career, what would kind of be some of those challenges and how did you overcome them as a player?
Um, I'd say injuries a lot. I have dealt with quite a few bad ankle injuries. I had some back problems for a while where it's just it's the small things that try and bring you down, but also you have to look on the bright side. You'll be able to get over it, overcome them, and it's been a hard time with that, but I think it's also made me who I am with those injuries.
Yep, and see, I think a lot of athletes like yourself go through those injuries. Whether it's, I mean, you're seeing a lot more ACL stuff in basketball, a lot of knee problems, people, you know, twisting their ankles, and so those things occur with a lot of basketball players. And so I know that there are players out there that look to other players in terms of how do you guys get over that stuff. So I think it's good to see not that those things happen to you, but those things happen to you and you were able to overcome them. What I am always intrigued about, Rhea, is because I was never good enough to be a college athlete or a college basketball player, even though I had dreams to do that. I always wonder, when does it hit you that you are going to have the ability to play college basketball? Like, when did that hit you all of a sudden?
Think when some coaches started to first reach out, and my dad and brother would say it all the time, you're a college athlete, you could definitely play in college. But I think once that some college coaches started actually reaching out to me, that's when it hit me wow, I really have the chance to play in college.
Yeah, if for sure. You know, sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit of times in terms of your development. I think there's a lot of players out that expect things to come fast for them, but you actually put in the work. I mean, you mentioned getting up before school had to be like 5 o'clock in the morning and having that dedication. And now you're seeing a lot of that dedication pay off. There are probably a lot of people out there that are going to be watching this video that have not had an opportunity to see you play. So if I was someone that had never seen Raya Shaw play, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Um, I definitely say like a dog on defense. Um, Trying to make the plays for others, but also make a play for yourself. Don't let not letting like me go hidden throughout the games, letting them know that I'm still there on defense, on offense. For
You you just committed to the University of Missouri St. Louis. Why was that a great fit for Raya Shaw?
um, I when I first got there, I just loved it there. I love the coaches, the players, and for me, what was really important is that they're the coaches that have had the most like they're most consistent with like talking to me, coming to games, like reaching out, and I loved it there.
I mentioned it before. I always dreamed about getting that offer, from a university. Like when that offer finally came from the University of Missouri St. Louis, like what was going through your mind when you first got that offer from them?
I was really excited. I was overwhelmed with joy and everything. Overwhelmed with
How,
the thoughts.
how did your family react?
My dad was really happy. He also loved the school, so he thought it was also kind of like a great fit there.
Okay. Well, what are you most excited about in terms of joining that program and that team? Obviously, you've been at Memorial for the past 4 years. You're going into your senior season. Next year, you'll be on a completely different team, have a completely different coaching staff. What are you looking forward to the most?
I think just learning the new things, getting to know new people, the team and the coaches, and just the community that they've built there.
Okay. Have you thought about what you want to major in? Like, what are you looking for academically at the school?
I was thinking of majoring in pediatric physical therapy.
Okay. Okay, good field. You'll always have a job there once you get your degree. Let's talk a little bit about Playmakers. Obviously, I'm very fond of the program. You've obviously come up in the Playmakers program. How did playing for Wisconsin Playmakers prepare you for college basketball?
I definitely think the whole program is very like welcoming, but they also they have like um workouts that are college level. They bring in some college coaches, some college players there, and they just run it kind of like it'd be like a practice there. And they bring in some great coaches that you have like some that coach college and high school, where they just make it like a college experience, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because there are a lot of AAU programs that have like the workouts and stuff like that. But the one thing that I have seen, being on the outside looking in for the past 7 years, I've been coaching college basketball at Viterbo University. Now being, more involved with Playmakers, is that they've always had the philosophy of bringing college coaches in to work with their players, and I thought that's pretty unique compared to some other AAU programs out there. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. If you had to look back with your years of playing with Playmakers program, all the tournaments, all the travel that you've had an opportunity to go to, if you could pick out like one of your favorite memories in terms of playing for Playmakers, what would that be?
Um, I'd say one would be like last season or last year, where we had almost every 8 a.m. game that you could ever have. Um, but we like went into double overtime in a 8 a.m. game, and we had like one last second shot, and three went in. That was cool.
Awesome. If you had to look at, obviously your dad, Aaron, was a big part of your development. If you had to pick out, some things that your dad may have done and other coaches that you've had the opportunity to interact with, like what were some of the things that playmakers coaches did to push you to get better?
What they did was like um knowing your strengths and like making the most out of those, and then also being to find like the things that you need to work on and like putting that into the game and just being able to push you to be your best. My dad is a huge energy guy. And
Yeah.
also, he definitely has made me kind of go out of my comfort zone with bringing energy and just he gets on me a lot, but in a good way, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Are there lessons that you will take with you to Missouri St. Louis or take with you for the rest of your life that maybe you've learned from your dad or some other coaches and playmakers?
Yeah, my dad always has this thing where he says next play. Like so just like knowing that like where I mess up, like I can't let it show others because then it might affect them as well. So just go on to the next play, make up for the mistake that you may had and just get the ball back or something.
Yeah, I was in the gym a couple of weeks ago and I was watching all the young players there. You were there helping out with playmakers. And, the one thing I thought about as I was walking around the gym was, I wonder what would be the best piece of advice to give some of these younger players who may be just starting in playmakers, who may be just starting in middle school or maybe just starting their high school careers. If you had to give some of the young players, a piece of advice starting out playing the game of basketball, whether it be high school, middle school, whatever, what piece of advice would you give them?
Um, I'd say like just be able to understand the game, put in the work. If you want to go play in college, like you won't be able to just get in the gym once a week. Like you have to get in it more, work harder than some of the other kids. I definitely say like make plays not only for yourself but for others. You don't want to hog the ball all the time. Coaches want to see you work really hard on defense. They want to see you pass the ball, make the assists, just not take it to the rim the whole time by yourself.
Yeah, I look at you and the way you have developed as a player is really extraordinary. I watch you play. You're the primary ball handler for your high school team, but honestly, I think as a coach, watching your skill set, I think you can play, 1 through 5, honestly, because I think you have the ability. It's probably not a necessity on Eau Claire Memorial's team, but you definitely have the ability and you're strong enough and you're athletic enough to play in the post. So when I look at Raya Shaw, I'm like, she can play 1 through 5. And I think when people look at you, they always see the finished product and they don't understand the journey that you have gone through to become the player that you have become. I mean, you have great work ethic. You talk about getting up in the morning before school and working out. I mean, that takes a lot of discipline. That takes a lot of time. So I want to talk about your work ethic because maybe there's a player out there that can get something out of that and maybe duplicate some of the things that you've done over the years to help you become the player that you have become. So I guess my first question would be, you've probably been through 1,000 workouts in a variety of different sports. What's the toughest workout that you can remember that you've ever done as a player?
Um, I'd say ones that include like a lot of running.
Yeah.
Like, because like you have Jason Clark. He loves his, I like to call them his army workouts, basically. Like, I said those are pretty hard where you'll I remember one practice where we had to make like 2 free throws in a row and nobody could get it, and every time you had to go down and back, and it was just that was definitely pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the things that stick with you. One thing I always have done with my teams is we run 20 and 20s. We do 20 suicides in 20 minutes, and every player that I've ever coached that has been on the team with me always comes back to me and say, "Coach, remember those 20 and 20s?" So those workouts really shape you as a player. I look at your ability to also balance school. You're obviously a high academic person as well, good basketball player, but you also have a personal life. There's been times where my wife and I have run into you at various restaurants around in Eau Claire. So how do you balance like school, basketball, and then your social life?
Um, I'd say like getting up earlier for me definitely helps out, like going to the gym or going to go work out in the morning before school kind of helps because then I know that I can get my school stuff done after. And then if I want to do something later with some friends, like I can do that as well.
Okay. Yeah, time management and balance is really important. I want you to put your coach's hat on for a second, and I want you to look at Raya Shaw, the player. And I want you to give me a part of your game that you feel like over the years has improved the most.
I definitely say like the defense side of it has improved a lot. Like I've learned definitely how to like slide my feet a lot better, stop people from going downhill more, and just like being able to watch the game more on defense as well.
Yep. Is there a part of your game that you still want to sharpen as a player before you go into college?
I definitely say like shooting the ball. Um, I'll take it to the rim, but it's definitely like a confidence builder of just being able to shoot the ball more when I'm open or in the situations that kind of need it.
Yeah. We all know I coach basketball, so I work with a lot of players, and sometimes the season, I think the basketball season is the longest season out of any sport you can play, and at the college level, you basically start in September, and if you're playing well, you end in March, and then the high school season starts in November, and if you're playing well, you're playing to the end of March. So, out of all the sports, it's a long, grueling season, and within that, you have a lot of ups and downs. As a player, it's easy to kind of deal with the ups when things are going well, you're playing well, maybe your team is on a winning streak. You as a player, how have you dealt with some of the downs where maybe you lost a game you shouldn't have lost, or maybe you didn't play as well as you would have liked in a game?
Um, I definitely say like reflect on the things that I didn't work on or didn't do as well in the game or something and work on those like the next day or something. Just try and move on from it and know that next game will hopefully be better and just improve by each game and each practice, each workout.
Yeah, great advice, great way to look at it. I look at you, Rhea, as you are an extremely good athlete, and I think that if you didn't choose to play basketball in college, you definitely would be able to run track in college for sure. I'm sure there were probably some track programs that reached out to you. But when you look at your time playing Playmakers basketball and you had to think back of all the games that you've ever played in that uniform, what's the best game you've ever played?
Ooh, that's
I know there's a lot of them, but if you had to pick out one that's just in your memory, like, man, I brought it that game. What would be the best game you feel like you've ever played?
um it was probably like a few years ago. We were up in Milwaukee. There was some personal stuff going on with my grandpa, and it was just like that game. I was like, this game's for him. And that's it. That definitely was like a game where I just played my heart out, and it was great.
Yeah, and sometimes when you can tap into that type of energy, I tell players all the time, it can really help. We do something with our basketball team in terms of self-reflecting all the time and being grateful for some of the things that you have in your life. And it's amazing how sometimes when you tap into those emotions, how well you can play. You've been to a lot of tournaments. Does Rhea have a favorite tournament out there that she liked to go to or that she liked to attend every year?
It definitely be the Chicago one. For
Yeah.
that was like one of my favorite ones there.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest AAU tournaments I had ever been around. And the crazy thing is there's really no place to park down there. So you have to, get a shuttle or ride a train just to get to the big convention center down there. That is a huge tournament. What's what's a personal accomplishment on the court that means the most to you?
Um, I'd say like knowing to or knowing that my teammates can like rely on me and like earning their trust on the court and just that like somebody like if they need the ball to be passed to or like trust them to take it to the hoop or something. I feel like that's an accomplishment that I've gotten from my teammates. It's just like that trust kinda.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. And then I look at your high school team. Coach Fanning is your high school coach. Coach Fanning, in my opinion, is one of the best coaches around in the region. I mean, every time I come watch one of his teams play, seems like you guys are always prepared. He's very animated on the sidelines, coaches you guys hard. You guys have a great coaching staff there at Memorial. If you had to take us not too behind the scenes, to give away any Eau Claire Memorial secrets, but if you had to take us behind the scenes and look at your team, can you give me one example of how close you guys are? Because you guys are coming off one of the best seasons in the history of Eau Claire Memorial basketball, and that just doesn't happen by mistake. That is hard work from the coaches. That is total buy-in from you guys, the players. So if you could take us behind the scenes about how close-knit of a family you guys are, what what would you say to describe Eau Claire Memorial's basketball program?
I'd have to say like Um, we're definitely like a family there, and we'd be going before some games, like we'd have like a team breakfast or just like a lunch, and we'd watch some film on the team, just like us organizing it ourselves, like not the coaches having to ask us, or we'd go to like a dinner late at night, either after a home game or an away game. And we just talk about the game and reflect on the goods and the things that we need to work on. And it's definitely like we've We've definitely become a family there, and everybody loves each other, rely on one another. If you need a ride somewhere, and it's goes beyond the game of basketball. Like, if you need somewhere like a ride after school or a ride to school or something, it's definitely
Yeah, little stuff like that makes the difference. Sometimes people can just, really dismiss that stuff and say, that's not really important, but it really makes the family. It really brings you guys together. It builds a foundation for great, great teams. And I think that's a huge reason why you guys were so successful last year. You're going to college. You're about to play college basketball in a year from now. What's your favorite college player and or professional player and why?
ooh, I'd say, maybe like Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark.
Okay. Two
Mhm.
good ones. You can't go wrong there, Raya.
Yeah, they are definitely like the playmakers of their teams as well. They'll pass the ball, they'll shoot it when needed, they'll make the plays, like, for others as well. They're just really good players.
Yeah, and Paige Beckers quietly is having one of the best rookie seasons ever in WNBA history this year. She just dropped like 44 points the other night. So she's having a really good rookie season. You've had a lot of different coaches in various sports, whether it was track or basketball, playmakers or whatever. What's the best piece of advice a coach has given you?
Mm, I definitely going back to, like, with my dad, like, the next play or he always says that, like, basketball's a movie, not a snapshot, so it's like it's always gonna keep on moving, like, the one thing that was there isn't gonna be there in, like, point 0.2 seconds, like, just being able to keep your eyes moving on the court and knowing, like, when something's happening or something's changing.
Yeah, that sounds like an Aaron Shaw saying, as much time as he and I have spent together, he'll probably tell you that he's learned some things from me, but I've actually learned a lot of things from him just being in some of his practices and watching what he does with his players and just the way he interacts with some of his players has just been absolutely outstanding over the past couple of years. If you had to go back and give your younger self a message about basketball, what would it be?
Um, I'd say just enjoy the time that you have playing, work hard. There's gonna be some games that are gonna be mentally tough or ones where you're just gonna be, like, you think you're too exhausted just to, like, even, like, get up and put the work in, but stick with it because in the end, it really does pay off.
Awesome. And this is my last question, and I can't believe this, Rhea, because I remember when your mom used to be pushing you around in the baby carriage, and now you're a senior in high school and you're about to go on to play college basketball. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to have the opportunity to view this video, and there's going to be a lot of dreamers out there, people that want to be where you are, people that want to play, Division 1 basketball and go to the WNBA. If you had one last message to send to those players about chasing their dreams, what would it be?
Say, just keep putting in the work. Like, I know sometimes where there are gonna be some hard days where you just don't think that you're gonna be able to go to the gym or go work out or something, but it's after those moments where, like, where you do actually get in the gym, like, you do feel accomplished, and there's always gonna be some things going on in life, and it's hard to, like, separate, like, life and basketball sometimes, but use the motivation from what's ever going on in your life just to push yourself, because like, in the end, it's worth it, and you know that you wanna succeed, and you just gotta keep going and keep keep chasing your dreams.
Rhea Shaw, senior at Eau Claire. I can't believe I'm saying that. Senior at Eau Claire Memorial High School, verbally committed to the University of Missouri. I keep saying Milwaukee. University of Missouri, St. Louis. Rhea, congratulations on your journey. Being a great representation of Eau Claire Memorial basketball and being an even better representation for the Playmakers program. Thank you for your time. I know you're a busy young lady, but thanks for taking the time to come on and share some of your wisdom and show people your journey towards your college basketball destination.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Rhea Shaw, playmaker extraordinaire, senior at Eau Claire Memorial High School. This has been Unconventional Playbook, Playmakers Edition. We're going to continue to put things out and have players that have played and put on the Playmaker uniform from various high schools around the region. And hopefully, some of the players coming up, you guys can find some insight and be able to take some of the things from the players that we talk to each week, every time we upload a video. Feel free to put your comments or any questions that you may have for myself or Rhea in the comments, and we will try to answer those. Also, please hit that like and subscribe button. It only takes a second to continue to help our station to grow, and we will continue to go from there. Rhea, again, thank you for coming on.
And thank you so much.
This has been Unconventional Playbook. We will see you when we see you. Thank you.